Don't scroll. Listen to this carefully, because this message is for you. Yes, you. The one who felt a strange pull to stop right here. Your heart needs this right now, even if you don't fully understand why yet. This is not just a video. This is a moment. A pause the universe placed directly in your path. You've been waking up lately with a heaviness you can't explain. Smiling for others, but quietly fighting battles in your own mind. There are questions you haven't said out loud. Fears you pushed deep down, and prayers you've whispered when no one was listening. And yet, somehow, you're still standing. That alone tells me something powerful about you. Right now, uncertainty feels louder than ever. The future feels unclear. Plans feel fragile. And your mind keeps asking, what if things don't work out? But listen to this gently. What if they do? What if what you're walking through isn't punishment, but preparation? What if this season is shaping a faith inside you that fear can no longer control? Take a slow breath. Feel your shoulders soften, because something higher is speaking to you right now. You didn't come this far to be abandoned. You didn't survive everything you survived just to fall apart here. There is a reason you're still here, still hoping, still believing, even on days when belief feels exhausting. Heaven has been watching your quiet strength, the way you kept going when no one applauded, the way you held on when letting go would have been easier. And if you've been seeing signs lately, numbers repeating, songs playing at the exact right moment, memories resurfacing out of nowhere, this is not coincidence. This is communication. Angel numbers, like 1111 showing up when you're questioning your purpose. 222 appearing when you're doubting your decisions. 444 reminding you that you are protected, even when you feel exposed. These are gentle nudges saying, you're on the right path. Don't turn back now. There is a shift happening, and you can feel it. Something inside you is waking up. Old versions of you are being shed. Old fears are losing their grip. What once triggered panic is now teaching patience. What once felt like loss is slowly revealing itself as redirection. This is the moment where faith asks you to rise. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, deeply, unshakably. You've been asking God for clarity, but sometimes clarity doesn't come as answers. Sometimes it comes as peace in the middle of confusion. Sometimes it comes as strength you didn't know you had. Sometimes it comes as a calm voice saying, trust me, even here. And hear this, your fear does not mean you're weak. It means you care. It means you're standing at the edge of something important. Fear often shows up right before breakthroughs, right before blessings, right before the prayers you forgot you prayed start finding their way back to you. This message isn't here to rush you. It's here to ground you, to remind you that you are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. Everything unfolding right now is aligning you with a future that requires a stronger, wiser, more awakened version of you. If love has been on your mind, if your heart feels tired from past disappointments, know this, your soulmate energy is shifting too. Whether it's reunion, healing, or preparation for someone new, your heart is being softened, not hardened. The universe is clearing space, teaching you self-worth, teaching you discernment, teaching you what love should feel like when it's safe, mutual, and divinely guided. You may feel lonely at times, but you are never alone. Even in silence, there is movement. Even in waiting, there is purpose. Even in uncertainty, there is protection. What's meant for you cannot miss you. What's guided by God cannot be stopped. So if your spirit feels restless, that's not anxiety, it's anticipation. Something is aligning. Something is shifting. Something unseen is preparing to step into the visible. And the reason this message feels so personal, so accurate, so close to your heart, is because it was never meant for everyone. It was meant for the one listening right now. And as this new morning unfolds, as the light slowly fills the space around you, you are being invited to choose something different. Not denial. Not pretending everything is perfect. But faith. A deeper faith. A faith that stands even when answers don't come immediately. A faith that whispers, "I trust what I cannot yet see." Hold on to this feeling, because what comes next will make sense of everything you're going through right now. That trust you're learning right now, it's not small. It's not ordinary. It's the kind of faith that's built in the dark, when no one is watching, when reassurance is silent, and when the only thing keeping you steady is a quiet knowing deep in your soul. And that knowing is growing stronger, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. Listen to this closely, because this part matters. You may feel like you're standing still, but spiritually, you're moving faster than you realize. While you're questioning yourself, the universe is rearranging timelines. While you're doubting your worth, doors you haven't even knocked on yet are being unlocked. While you're wondering when, heaven is already working on the how. There are things happening behind the scenes that you're not meant to see yet. Conversations about you. Opportunities lining up. Protection stepping in quietly where danger once existed. Delays that saved you from paths that would have drained your spirit. What you call waiting, God calls guarding. And if your emotions have been unpredictable lately, one moment calm, the next overwhelmed, that's because old energies are leaving your body. Old attachments, old fears, old versions of you that were built out of survival, not peace. You're not breaking down. You're breaking open. This is a spiritual awakening, even if it doesn't look like one. Awakening isn't always light and bliss. Sometimes it feels like confusion. Sometimes it feels like isolation. Sometimes it feels like everything familiar no longer fits. That's because your soul is outgrowing environments, habits, and even people that once felt comfortable. You've noticed it, haven't you? Certain conversations don't resonate anymore. Certain behaviors feel heavy now. You crave depth, truth, stillness, meaning. That's not by accident. That's alignment. Your spirit is tuning itself to a higher frequency, and not everyone can meet you there. If you've been seeing someone from your past in your dreams, if a name keeps coming up, if your heart feels pulled toward closure or clarity, this is part of the process too. Some soul connections come back to teach, not to stay. Some return to be healed, not repeated. And some are being energetically released so something healthier can arrive. Your soulmate journey is not delayed. It's being protected. Right now, the universe is making sure you don't settle for less than what matches your growth. That's why certain relationships fell apart. That's why certain feelings changed. That's why what once felt right suddenly felt wrong. You are being refined for a love that doesn't require you to shrink, chase, or beg. And here's something important you need to hear. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. Your empathy is not a flaw. Your deep heart is not a liability. It's a gift. And that gift is being prepared for the right hands. If fear has been whispering lies to you late at night, telling you that you're running out of time, that you missed your chance, that others are ahead of you, pause. That voice is not truth. That voice is resistance. Fear speaks loudest when it knows it's about to lose control. Faith, on the other hand, doesn't shout. It reassures. It steadies. It waits patiently for you to listen. And faith is speaking to you now. It's telling you that your story is not behind schedule. It's telling you that what's meant for you will arrive in divine timing, not rush timing. It's telling you that this uncertainty is temporary, but the strength you're building will last. If you've been praying for peace, notice this: you're reacting differently now. Things that once triggered panic now bring reflection. Situations that once felt unbearable now feel manageable. That's growth. Quiet growth. Sacred growth. You are becoming someone who trusts themselves again. Someone who listens to intuition. Someone who doesn't ignore red flags, but also doesn't ignore green lights. Someone who knows when to hold on and when to let go. And the signs will keep coming. A message at the right moment. A reminder when you're about to give up. A number sequence that makes you pause. A feeling of calm that arrives without explanation. These are confirmations. Not hype. Not illusion. Confirmation. You are being divinely guided, even on days you feel lost. So right now, let your heart rest for a moment. You don't have to solve everything today. You don't have to know every step. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be willing. Willing to trust. Willing to soften. Willing to believe that what's unfolding is working for you, not against you. There is a version of you already living in peace. Already fulfilled. Already loved. Already secure. And every choice you're making right now, especially the hard ones, is moving you closer to that version. Stay present. Stay open. Because the next realization, the next shift, the next sign is closer than you think. That closeness you're feeling right now, that quiet stillness settling in your chest, that's not accidental. That's alignment. That's your soul recognizing truth. And if your eyes feel heavy, if your emotions feel closer to the surface than usual, let them be. This is one of those moments where something inside you is being gently rearranged. Listen to this slowly. You are not here by mistake. You are not hearing this by coincidence. And you are not meant to rush past what your spirit is trying to show you. There has been a silent battle going on within you. A battle between who you were taught to be and who you are becoming. Between fear-based decisions and faith-led choices. Between holding on because it's familiar and letting go because it's necessary. And lately, faith has been getting stronger, even if fear still tries to speak. Fear tells you to prepare for the worst. Faith tells you to prepare for the blessing. Fear reminds you of what went wrong before. Faith reminds you that you survived it, and you're wiser now. You've already noticed it. You don't react the same way anymore. You pause. You breathe. You reflect. That's not weakness. That's mastery. That's emotional maturity. That's spiritual growth happening in real time. There are moments now where you sense things before they happen. You feel energy shift when someone walks into your space. You intuitively know when something isn't aligned, even if it looks good on the surface. That's your discernment sharpening. That's your intuition waking up. That's the universe trusting you with deeper awareness. And because of that, not everything can come with you into this next chapter. Some people will misunderstand your silence. Some will question your boundaries. Some will feel uncomfortable around your peace. But hear this clearly. Not everyone who knew the old you is meant to access the new you. Growth creates distance, not because you're better, but because you're different. And different vibrations don't always harmonize. If your circle feels smaller, that's protection. If your path feels quieter, that's guidance. If your heart feels tender, that's healing. You've been asking for clarity, and clarity is arriving. Not all at once, but layer by layer. Through moments of stillness. Through sudden realizations. Through emotions that rise and fall like waves. teaching you how to surrender instead of resist. And yes, love is still part of this story. If your heart has been guarded, that guard is slowly softening. Not because you're lowering standards, but because you're learning trust again. Trust in yourself. Trust in your intuition. Trust that the next connection won't require you to lose yourself to keep it. Your soulmate energy is not chaotic. It's calm. It's safe. It's familiar without being painful. That's why the universe has been removing distractions. That's why surface-level connections no longer satisfy you. That's why you crave depth, honesty, and emotional safety more than excitement or intensity. You are being prepared for a love that meets you at your healed level, not your wounded one. If you've been feeling moments of loneliness, understand this. Loneliness is often the space where alignment happens. It's where clarity grows. It's where self-worth stabilizes. It's where you remember who you are without external validation. And in that space, something powerful is forming. Your prayers are being answered in ways you didn't expect. Not always by giving you what you asked for, but by removing what you didn't need. Not by speeding things up, but by slowing you down enough to notice the signs. And the signs are everywhere now. A word that repeats. A message that arrives at the exact right second. A thought you were thinking, spoken out loud by someone else. A feeling of calm washing over you without explanation. These are confirmations. Gentle reminders. Soft reassurances that you are supported beyond what you can see. There is a reason time feels different lately. Some days move slowly. Some pass in a blur. That's because you are between versions of yourself. Between chapters. Between what was and what's coming. And that in-between space, though uncomfortable, is sacred. This is where intention is set. This is where faith is chosen. This is where fear loosens its grip. You don't need to force clarity. You don't need to chase certainty. What's meant for you is already finding its way, quietly, steadily, divinely. Your only responsibility right now is to stay present, to listen inward, to honor what your spirit is asking for. If your body has been asking for rest, listen. If your heart has been asking for honesty, honor it. If your soul has been asking for faith, answer gently. Because something is aligning. Something that will make sense of the confusion, the delays, the emotional lessons. Something that will connect the dots between every moment you thought was wasted. And as this alignment deepens, you may notice your desires changing. What you want now is simpler, purer, more intentional. Peace over chaos. Depth over drama. Purpose over approval. That shift alone tells me you are ready for what's next. The universe doesn't rush readiness. It prepares it. And you are being prepared right now, through patience, through reflection, through moments of surrender that feel uncomfortable but necessary. This is the kind of preparation that leads to lasting blessings, not temporary highs. So stay here in this moment. Let the message settle. Let the truth anchor you. Is not the end of your story, but the place where something far greater begins to emerge, quietly, gently, unmistakably, as your faith continues to rise and your fear continues to loosen, and just as you start to sense what that next chapter might hold, what it might require of you, what it might ask you to release, and what it might finally place into your hands. You begin to notice how differently you're breathing now. Slower, deeper, as if your body already knows something your mind is still catching up to. That's because alignment doesn't start with logic. It starts with surrender. And you've been surrendering in ways you didn't even realize. There were moments you wanted to force answers. Moments you wanted guarantees. Moments you wanted someone, anyone, to tell you exactly how this would turn out. But instead, you were given silence, space, time. And in that space, something sacred was planted. Patience. Not the kind that waits passively, but the kind that trusts actively. The kind that says, "Even if I don't understand this yet, I believe it's working for me." That kind of patience changes people. It rewires how you respond to uncertainty. It turns anxiety into awareness. You are no longer reacting from panic. You are responding from presence. And presence is powerful. Right now, you're standing at a threshold. You may not see a clear door, but you can feel it. A sense that something is about to shift. That something you've been preparing for internally is nearing its moment externally. That's why old fears are resurfacing one last time. Fear always tries to speak before it leaves. If doubt has crept in again, don't fight it. Observe it. Doubt is often a signal that you're stretching beyond what's familiar. Growth feels unfamiliar before it feels natural. And you are growing. Emotionally, spiritually, energetically. You've started trusting your inner voice more. You notice when something feels off, even if it looks perfect on paper. You notice when something feels right, even if it doesn't make sense yet. That's intuition strengthening. That's divine guidance becoming clearer. And guidance doesn't always come as direction. Sometimes it comes as removal. Things have been falling away lately. Plans changed. People distanced. Opportunities dissolved. At first, it felt like loss. But now, if you're honest with yours, there's also relief. A lightness. A sense that you're no longer carrying what was never meant to be yours. That's not failure. That's refinement. You are being stripped of distractions, so you can recognize alignment when it arrives. You are being taught discernment, so you don't confuse intensity with truth, or familiarity with destiny. And destiny, it's closer than it appears. Your heart has been preparing quietly, healing wounds you didn't know were still open, releasing patterns you thought were just how you are, forgiving versions of yourself that didn't know better at the time. This inner work matters more than you realize, because what's coming next requires emotional honesty and spiritual clarity. If you've been asking why things feel so intense lately, this is why. Transformation isn't gentle on the ego. It asks hard questions. It brings buried emotions to the surface. It forces you to sit with yourself without distractions. But in that stillness, something beautiful happens. You remember who you are, not who the world told you to be, not who circumstances forced you to become, but who you were always meant to grow into. Someone grounded, someone discerning, someone whose faith is no longer conditional on outcomes. And this is where love, real love, enters the picture again. Not rushed, not chaotic, not confusing, but steady, intentional, soul-recognizing soul. The kind of love that doesn't trigger your wounds, but soothes them. The kind that feels like home, not a test. Your heart knows the difference now. That's why you won't repeat old cycles. That's why you won't chase what runs. That's why you won't abandon yourself to keep someone else. You've learned too much. You've healed too deeply. And the universe sees that. Every time you chose peace over proving yourself. Every time you walked away instead of arguing. Every time you trusted your intuition instead of your fear. Those moments added up. They are creating momentum. They are creating alignment. They are creating space. Space for the right opportunities. Space for the right people. Space for the right timing. If you've been seeing angel numbers more frequently, pay attention to how you feel when they appear. Calm, reassured, grounded, That's your nervous system responding to confirmation. That's your spirit saying, yes, this way. You don't need to rush ahead. You don't need to look back. You only need to stay present, because presence is where guidance speaks the clearest. And as you stay here, rooted, aware, open, you may begin to sense that the uncertainty that once frightened you doesn't hold the same power anymore. It feels less like a threat and more like a doorway. Less like confusion and more like possibility. You are learning how to trust without needing proof first. That is faith, not blind belief, but grounded confidence that whatever unfolds, you will meet it with wisdom, strength, and grace. That you will not lose yourself again. That you will recognize what aligns with your spirit and what does not. And as this realization settles deeper into you, as your body relaxes into the knowing that you are supported, guided, and protected, there is a subtle awareness beginning to rise. One that hints at what's about to shift next, what truth is about to surface, what message is about to become undeniable. And just as you start to feel that awareness take shape, just as the pieces begin to connect in a way that feels almost too precise to be coincidence, something within you leans forward, attentive, receptive, ready to hear what comes next. Because that leaning forward you're feeling right now is intention meeting readiness. It's your spirit saying, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm open. And when openness appears, guidance follows, quietly, gently, without force. You may notice your thoughts slowing down as you listen to this. The mental noise that once felt overwhelming doesn't have the same grip. That's not because your problems disappeared, but because your perspective is changing. You're no longer trying to control every outcome. You're learning how to cooperate with what's unfolding. This is a sacred skill. Most people resist uncertainty. You are learning to sit with it, to breathe through it, to trust within it. That alone places you on a different path, one that leads not just to answers, but to peace. If your sleep has been different lately, either deeper than usual or restless with vivid dreams, pay attention. Dreams are one of the ways your subconscious processes transformation. Messages come through symbols. Emotions rise to be released. Old chapters close quietly while you rest. Even when you think nothing is happening, things are happening. Your soul has been working overtime. And that's why you may feel tired in ways rest alone doesn't fix. You're not exhausted, you're integrating. Integrating lessons. Integrating healing. Integrating a new sense of self that isn't built on survival anymore. Survival mode taught you how to push. Alignment is teaching you how to receive. That shift can feel uncomfortable at first. Receiving requires trust. It asks you to believe you're worthy without over-explaining, over-performing, or over-giving. And that's a lesson your heart has been slowly learning. You don't need to earn what's meant for you. You need to allow it. This is especially true when it comes to love. If you've been feeling a soft ache, not sharp pain, but a quiet longing, that's not loneliness. That's readiness. A readiness for connection that feels mutual, balanced, safe. The kind of connection where you don't question where you stand, or shrink your needs to keep the peace. The universe is not bringing you someone to fix you. It's bringing you someone who recognizes you. And until that moment aligns in the physical world, your relationship with yourself is being strengthened. Boundaries are becoming clearer. Self-trust is becoming firmer. You are learning that walking away from what drains you is an act of self-respect, not selfishness. That realization alone changes everything. You are no longer chasing validation. You are attracting alignment. And attraction doesn't shout, it hums. It vibrates at a frequency that only what matches it can hear. That's why some people drift away naturally. That's why certain doors close without drama. That's why your desires are becoming more specific, more intentional. You're not asking for less anymore. You're asking for truth. If you've been feeling called to slow down, do it. If you've been feeling called to protect your energy, honor it. If you've been feeling called to speak less and observe more, trust that instinct. Silence has become one of your greatest teachers. In silence, you hear what matters. In stillness, you feel what aligns. In patience, you recognize what's real. And right now, something real is approaching. Not rushed. Not forced. But divinely timed. You may not see it clearly yet, but you can sense it. A subtle shift in the way you imagine your future. Less fear. More openness. Less pressure. More faith. That shift is preparing you for a moment that will feel both surprising and familiar, like something you've been expecting without knowing how or when it would arrive. This is how manifestation works when it's guided, not ego-driven. You didn't force this. You aligned with it. And alignment is powerful because it doesn't depend on circumstances. It depends on inner readiness. That's why even when things around you still look uncertain, you feel steadier within. That steadiness is the foundation of what comes next. If doubt tries to return, remind yourself of this moment, of how grounded you feel right now, of how calm your breath has become, of how the message seems to speak directly to you. These are anchors, proof that you can return to trust whenever fear tries to pull you away. You are not meant to have everything figured out today. You are meant to stay connected to your inner guidance. And that guidance is leading you somewhere meaningful. Every choice you make from peace reinforces that path. Every boundary you honor strengthens it. Every moment you choose faith over fear widens it. You are building something invisible now that will soon become undeniable. And as that awareness deepens, as your confidence settles into something quieter but stronger, you may begin to sense that a particular truth, one you've been circling around for a while, is about to fully reveal itself. A realization that will change how you see your past, your timing, and your worth. That realization is close. So stay present, stay open, stay grounded in this moment. Because the next shift doesn't arrive with noise, it arrives with clarity. And just as you start to feel that clarity forming, just as your heart begins to recognize what it's been preparing for all along, something within you pauses, attentive, aware, ready to receive the next message that's already moving toward you. And here it is. This is the moment your spirit has been quietly preparing for. Take a deep breath, slow and intentional, because what you're about to understand changes everything. The uncertainty that once felt heavy was never meant to confuse you. It was meant to soften you, to loosen your grip on fear, to teach you how to trust without conditions. You were never lost. You were being led. Every pause, every delay, every unanswered prayer was shaping discernment inside you. You were learning the difference between what you want and what you're truly ready to receive. And now, that readiness has arrived. This is why things are settling. This is why your heart feels calmer. This is why faith feels more natural than fear. You don't need a sign anymore, because you have become the sign. Your peace is proof. Your growth is evidence. Your ability to stay grounded even when life feels uncertain is the confirmation you once asked for. Hear this clearly, and let it land deep in your heart. What is meant for you is no longer being delayed. It is being released. Released into your path. Released into your relationships. Released into your next chapter. The love you've been preparing for, whether that's romantic, spiritual, or self-directed, is aligning with you now. Not rushed. Not chaotic. but steady and intentional. The kind of love that doesn't test your worth, but recognizes it. The kind that meets you where you are, not where you used to be. And the universe, God, Source, whatever name your soul knows, has been walking with you this entire time. In the silence. In the waiting. In the moments you thought nothing was happening. Something was happening. You were becoming someone who could hold the blessing without losing themselves. So as this moment closes, let fear rest. It has taught you what it needed to teach you. You don't need it to protect you anymore. Faith is stronger now. Quieter. Deeper. Rooted. Say this softly within yourself. I trust the timing of my life. I trust the path unfolding before me. I trust that what's coming will meet me with peace. And as you carry this feeling forward, into your day, into your decisions, into your relationships, know this. You are guided. You are protected. You are deeply supported. This chapter is not ending because you failed. It's ending because you're ready. And the next one is already beginning. Sunrise folded hands sparkles.